For most of the aviation industry, it has been a very rough 2020. As a result of travel restrictions amid the pandemic, airlines have faced losses, some they have never seen before. Like many of their counterparts, Japan's All-Nippon Airways is also going through its own challenges amid the pandemic. However, there is some positive news from this Tokyo-based carrier, as part of a restructuring plan for its business, the biggest airline group in Japan has announced the plans for a new budget airline brand to be launched. Now, before we discuss the new budget airline ANA plans to launch, the Tokyo-based carrier announced other initiatives to take on the challenges of the current situation and to develop the airline group further for future growth in the future. Like many of its aviation counterparts globally, ANA will be taking part in cost-cutting measures, and this will likely include some changes with its company, especially with its employees. One of the more noteworthy decisions the airline has taken will be the retirement of up to 35 aircraft by the end of this year, 2020. Of the 35 aircraft set to be retired, a majority 22 will be wide-body Boeing 777 jets. Along with the 777s, it also plans to reduce the fleet of Peach Aviation, its budget airline subsidiary, by 2 aircraft. It's likely that this will affect 2 of the A320s on Peach Aviation's fleet, which will bring down that airline's fleet from 35 to 33. With the change in plans for retirement of aircraft, ANA Group plans to operate a total of 276 jets by year's end. While the decision to retire aircraft caught attention, the biggest headline among the changes was the decision to launch a yet-to-be-named new budget airline venture. Based on the ANA Group's Air Japan entity, it plans to operate medium-distance flights in Southeast Asia and Oceania using Boeing 787 aircraft, with a 2-class configuration with 300 seats. According to ANA, it plans to launch this airline by the fiscal year 2022. With the new airline brand, it will add to ANA's portfolio as a budget carrier to go along with Peach Aviation, which operates domestic and international flights using A320 and A321 aircraft. However, it's just hard not to ignore the common similarity with Japan Airlines' current budget subsidiary Zip Air Tokyo, which also happens to use Boeing 787s on routes right now to Bangkok, Seoul, and soon to be Honolulu, Hawaii. Similar to ANA's plans, Zip Air Tokyo's 787s also operate a 2-class configuration that could accommodate 290 passengers. We could likely see ANA take some lessons from Zip Air Tokyo's experiences right now, which will likely have its main hub at Tokyo Narita Airport, as it may be more difficult to secure slots at Tokyo Haneda, and the airline could take advantage of initiatives by Narita Airport to promote more flights there. For its 787s, it also could source its aircraft from the parent company of All-Nippon Airways, who just so happens to be the largest operator of the Dreamliner jets with over 70 in its fleet, and it also just happens that ANA also has plans to receive more. As for its routes and how it will fit with the overall ANA group, this is a part that we only could speculate at this point, though it's hard not to point out that this new airline will give ANA more added flexibility for operations throughout its network. Being aimed at medium-distance flights, it's likely that it will cover flights of 4 to 8 hours mostly to other parts of the region, allowing Peach Aviation to be the primary domestic budget airline to go along with ANA's mainline operations within Japan. Some of the countries that I could possibly see the airline operating to would be South Korea, Australia, Thailand, Vietnam, India, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and China. And another note, it is likely to have some overlap on some destinations with Peach Aviation and ANA, especially on some flights to select cities such as Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Taipei. Where it could get more interesting would be in countries like in the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Among the countries this airline could be used to expand its presence in could be the Philippines. ANA currently operates flights to Manila from both Haneda and Narita, and with the relatively short distance, arguably it could be operated by Peach Aviation to cities in Cebu and Clark. There could be a possibility that this could open up some new routes in the country, specifically those 2 cities. Where it could get more interesting would be on routes to Indonesia and Malaysia, which would be pushing the bounds of the A320s used by Peach Aviation. ANA could shift its focus using the 787s to Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta, while opening the budget airline flights to resort destinations of Bali and Penang. These are just some potential scenarios of flights to be operated by ANA and the new budget airline, something that we would expect that these announcements for the new routes to be operated by this carrier would be highly anticipated. After Japan Airlines announcement and the start of Zip Air Tokyo, this is probably the latest interesting announcement to come out of the Japanese aviation industry, specifically the two major airlines of Japan. More interestingly, we're heading to a showdown between the two budget airlines operated by JAL and All Nippon Airways using Boeing 787s. Now, knowing these plans for the new budget airline, what do you think would be the new routes for this new medium-distance budget airline to be started by All Nippon Airways? Also, what are your thoughts on the future prospects for this new budget airline venture? I'd definitely love to hear your take, and in the meantime, I thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Once again, this is Flights in Asia. Thank you again for watching, and have a great day.